Aloha mai kako. So for project number 2, you guys are going to be developing and creating and building your wireframes using Freehand in the class Envision account. So it's super important that you do not create your own individual Envision app account. We're going to be using the account that I set up for the entire class. The reason for this is because it costs money to use the Envision app if you want to do more than one project. So I actually created a class account so we can create unlimited amount of projects, and so we can collaborate together really easily as well. Just to let you guys know, since we are using the class Envision app account, I would ask you guys to be respectful about everybody else's project work. Please do not delete anyone's project. I've never had that happen in all the years that I've been teaching. So just be mindful not to delete anyone's project. It's actually not very easy to do. So just want to let you know. And also, students may browse your project, so just be aware of that. Since this is a class-facing account, other students in our class may look at your work in the collaboration. In fact, I encourage people to look at what other people are building. So please know that this is sort of an open learning environment, but please don't make any changes to anybody's prototypes or freehand wireframes as we move forward in this class. Okay, so what I'm going to go over today is this whole process of wireframing, because you guys have, in this project number 2, you should have already by now finalized your app goals, finalized your app functions, and now you guys are going to start that process of wireframing. And that's really the first step towards the visual design of your app idea. In project 3, you guys are going to go into the prototype phase. Okay, so make sure that you are that you have read the entire project number 2 guidelines. By now you should have, because you already have been working on some of the deliverables. Make sure that you are well aware of all the fine print here about wireframing and what my expectations are. I don't want you guys to get simple point deductions because you didn't follow directions. As always, if you have any questions about wireframing, what is in the guidelines, please reach out to me so that I can clarify to you and also help maybe clarify to the other students in the class, because a lot of times the questions that you have, everybody else has in the class. So you've read the wireframing deliverable instructions, and what we're going to do now is we're going to head on over to Laulima. So this is actually this is my view, and just make sure that you watch all the videos for week 3. Okay, there's a lot going on in week 3, so just make sure that before you start freehand, you've already watched all these videos and then you've been working on all your deliverables. The next thing is I've created this wireframing sketch template, and I also this is optional, guys, but you're gonna save a lot of time in Freehand. So Freehand is a type of project inside of the Envision app. You guys are gonna save a lot of time in Freehand if you sketch your wireframes ahead of time, okay? So I give you guys some tips and hints, and here are, you can print this out at home or at school, wherever you are, and you can start to build out, right, each of your user interfaces that, right, builds towards the entire app flow that demonstrates how a user will accomplish the function, your app function that you have stated earlier in your project number 2. So just make sure that you're clear on what your app function is before you even start this process. If you don't know where to start, go and reference the mobile design patterns. What patterns are you going to need to build out your app flow? And the other thing is make sure that you build out that and you have identified the user interface elements, right? Because remember, user interface elements are the pieces of the mobile design pattern. So if you haven't identified the mobile design pattern, you're going to definitely struggle with what UI elements you need to include in each of your screens to build out the user interface, right, for each of those screens. So like I said, make sure you do this first. Okay, now I'm going to go over to the Envision app. I'm already logged in, guys, to the Envision app account. And remember, you guys are using the class Envision app account, and the credentials are on the project number 2 guide sheet. If you have trouble logging in, reach out to me immediately, but the credentials are on the project number 2 guidelines. Okay, so we're here, and I have past projects here this is prototypes, so this is like project number 3. You're welcome to take a look at what other students have been building over the years for this class. So take a moment. The other thing too is I also have some of my own projects in here. You're welcome to take a look at them, but just please don't alter or delete them. And yeah, just feel free to kind of browse what's here. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to create a freehand project. So how do we do that? We go to this cool little plus sign, the top right hand corner here, and you guys are going to be creating a freehand, so a wireframe using freehand. And this is how I want you guys to label each of your wireframes. You're going to do 2 because you have 2 app functions. So your name, and it would be app function 1 wireframe. No spaces, just that underscore right there. I'm going to go ahead and create. So later on today, you guys can actually take a look at my project in here and see all the steps that I ran through. And what we want to do is let's just go with wireframing and flowcharts. And we want to go with this Envision wireframe preview. So let's preview it real quick. And yes, this is the one that we want. So you want to make sure you take the Envision wireframe. And the reason why I say that is because they have that nice mobile phone template already like ready for us. So we're going to use that template. And let me just zoom in here so you guys can see what's available. So you can build wireframing for in this particular freehand project. You can build out for web and mobile, but of course in this class we're going to do only for mobile. But what's so nice about this, guys, is that these templates, so you're going to have to click on the pointer. All of these are all available already for you. So we already have a phone template that we can just like copy and paste and start building out our user interface. The other thing too is they already have like a lot of icons available to you, tags if you wanted to use that on your user interfaces, ratings, all kinds of primary button links. So a lot of elements to build out the user interface, they've already sort of put that all together for us, and all we have to do is just like highlight it, and I'm going to show you guys how to do this. Highlight it, you can copy it, and then you can paste it where you want to. Okay, so somewhere, you don't even have to delete any of this, but somewhere on the bottom here is where I'm going to build out my wireframe, and I would recommend that you guys, like I said, you don't delete any of this stuff because you're going to use it. Just scroll to the bottom, maybe right under the mobile phone, and then you could write Marion, app function 1 wireframe. And I think I just want to make that longer if possible. The other thing that I want you to do is I want you to add the app function statement. So for 1, and I want you to notate that. So type your app function statement here for me, so that I don't have to refer back to your final slides. Okay. Oh, I think the other thing that I want you guys to do is I want you also to put your app goal. So for each one, app goal statement. Just make sure you type that there too. And I'm just going to erase this just to indicate to you guys that you need to type things there. So you have everything there. And the next thing we're going to do is I asked you guys to like start with a wireframe sketch, although it's optional. You don't need to do that, but in case you did start there, we want to upload that document here so that we can reference it. So perhaps I want to move all this text down a little further. I can use the pointer tool and I can grab it and kind of move it around. So I'm just going to move it down here because I'm going to actually add my wireframe sketch up above. So let's go here. So just keep in mind that it has to be an image. So you have to, if you scan it on your scanner, you'll have to upload it, make sure it's an image so that you can upload it to the Freehand board. This step is optional, so if you just want to have your sketch, if you just want to have your printout, you can work on it that way. It's just convenient to just add it to your project so you can see how you're going to build out your user interface. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do a one-screen demo. So I'm just going to show you how I'm going to build out the first screen in my wireframe. I'm not going to go through building all of it. Okay, so here is my sketch. It's a little oversized. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it back to a reasonable size. And I might actually bring it down here. This might be a little easier for me. And so what I'm going to do is, this is my screen 1. So the other thing you want to do is screen 1, which is also my home screen. Actually, maybe we'll just put that on this side. And so this MDP, this is just a little bit extra. This MDP is lists. So I'm just kind of doing that for me. But what are the components of my first screen here, my home screen? So it looks like I have tables, and I've got some labels there, and I've also got a tab bar. So here's where I just really love using Freehand to do all of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this, and it might be helpful to just, oops, didn't want to do that. Let's see here. So sorry. And all this is, so I want to unlock that. Okay, so you don't want to lock the element because that'll lock it in place on the board here. So I'm just going to grab that, unlock. Okay, good. So I'm going to grab, actually I want to grab all of it. So grab the whole thing. I'm going to do a Command C, or you can copy. I'm going to go down here. I'm just going to do a Command V. So it's not exactly where I wanted it. And I only was able to grab this in the inside. So let me just make sure. I think some of it is still locked. Unlock. Okay, so now I can grab that whole thing. So just guys, one thing to keep in mind is that you're gonna have to get used to how to grab and copy, so there's gonna be a little bit of a learning curve. But I'm just gonna go ahead and copy that again. I'm gonna just paste it over here. Okay, and I'm gonna get rid of this, and I'm gonna get rid of that. And I don't need that little phone thing. So let me just grab that. Let's see. Okay, well, let's just move it. I have a hard time moving it all at the same time. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm just kind of grabbing it right there. And at this point, if you want to, you could make it a little bigger if you want to. And this is a great size for me. If you want those two little things, you can go ahead and grab them and put them up here, but I think this is perfectly fine right here. Once again, I'm going to make another copy. So I'm going to do a Command C and a Command V. Just have to, once again, you just have to grab all right, let's go ahead and grab this whole thing. So here overlapping doesn't necessarily work for me. So I'm just kind of moving it. Right now I'm just moving it with the arrows because it just seems a little easier. And then you want to so your wireframes have to be a minimum of 4 screens. So what you want to do is you want to at least, I would even probably do like 8. That's probably going to be easiest for you. Just having a little trouble easily moving this. Okay, so I'm just gonna move it like this manually. I'm just gonna move the screen around so you guys can see what's going on. I was able to move that one quite easily, and just trying to figure out what. Okay. I'm gonna have to do it the slow way here. Let me know if you guys have figured out a quick way to do it. Okay. The other thing that I would highly recommend for you guys is do a good job on your wireframes, because this is going to translate into less work for you as you move into the wireframing stage. Sorry, the prototyping stage. So the more work you put in and detail you put into your wireframes, the better, right? So just make sure that you do that. Try your best. And let's just, so here's my 4 screens. This is once again the minimum. So before I even start, I'm just going to start labeling my screens here. So I'm going to go to the text tool here, screen 2. Okay. You can center it how you please. I'm just going to copy that and move it here. So screen 3. Once again, 4 screens is the minimum. Most of you guys will be using more than 4 screens. Okay, so here we go. So I am going to demo this, how I would build out this walking tour. So let me see here on the board if I have something that I could use. So let's see. I could use something like that, but I could just build my own. Let's see. All right, let me see if I can build my own here. So one thing you might want to do is just like try things on your own. So here's, let's see, I think I can resize everything. So let's go, let me just bring this down. Oops. Bring that down here. So I'm building out the table view right now. Let me just see how that fits. Oops. Oopsie. So Control Z. There we go. So if I want to start my table view, I can do that here. And then I can just copy and paste. Oops, move the wrong one. Just make sure you select the correct element here. So you're gonna spend some time doing this, so make sure that you have, you know, that time set aside. But as you can see, you see how having my sketch has really helped me, sort of propelled the process here. I'm just gonna make these individual cells a little bigger. Oh wait, my tab bar goes down there. So I'm going to, once I can grab that, I'm going to delete that, and then I'm going to copy this one. Okay. Here. How many do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think that should be good. If you wanted to get fancy, which you don't need to with your wireframes, but in your prototypes you will start adding in some, so when you're building, before you build out your prototype, you're going to come back in here and you're going to add some visual design elements to your wireframe. And I'm just gonna do one more here, and let's just move it into that spot, and we'll just adjust the size as we need to. All right. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to add in some text, right? So that's like a label, but we don't have to create a label. We know that the label is on top of the tables. And so that's how we're able to label each of the cells. And once again, you know, this is really getting kind of nitty-gritty, just making it look nice. If you want to bold it, you can, which might make sense for like a home screen. Virtual tour. So you guys should all be familiar with, and as you can see, the wireframe was just our starting point, right? Because you guys have seen the app already, so you know that it's different. The actual initial, this is like the initial wireframe is different from the actual final app. And this is after, you know, iterating with the team, like how did we want to design and then of course develop the final page. And you notice like even the words themselves are slightly different. Okay, here's our tab bar. So let's go ahead, and there's a nice tab bar that we can use. So what I did here, I'll just kind of zoom in a little more. So here's a tab bar. And we're going to just bring that tab bar down here. We could stretch it out a little bit. Oh, it didn't catch all the images. So we can go back up there and we can grab those individual images if we want to. So copy, paste. So don't try to like start from scratch, guys. Like the reason why they've created all of those wireframing elements or the user interface elements is so that we can easily wireframe here. Let's see here. Let's go back up to, let's see exactly where that bar was, right there. Okay. And I think that we only have like 4 sections, so I'm just gonna add that last one there. I'm gonna eliminate that one. And I'm gonna zoom in right now because I want to work with these elements here. So I can, you know, eventually, you can even upload your own. So as you guys are moving into the visual design for yours, you'll be, you will be adding your own graphics if you'd like to this. One thing I want to show you is that you can actually fill in, you can fill the actual graphic with color just to kind of spruce up. This is like once we start getting into the prototype phase. Okay, so for now, I'm just gonna rename this. I'm just gonna call this home. You want users to be able to like easily navigate to home, and so, you know, that's super important as you go through your mobile design process. So here I can do walking tour, and then if you want to just bold it, that's perfectly fine. And walking tour science. science and culture. So maybe like these are the 3 most important parts of my mobile app, right? And if you want to, you can just kind of bold everything again. And I might change out that graphic because it doesn't necessarily match what my interpretation for culture. Okay, so let's zoom out here, and we are going to the virtual tour. So what I want to do here is, and this is what you need to do in your wireframes, is now what I want you guys to communicate to me through your wireframe is the user pressed this particular cell on the wireframe to get to this screen. And what I'd like you guys to do is to make sure you color that red, because that's the requirement for the project. And then I would then insert this map view. So I could either like grab an image from the internet if I wanted to, or I could work within here and make like a circle, so something similar. Once again, I would probably copy over the tab bar. So I would copy over this. Copy that, paste that over here, and then move it over using the arrow key. That's like the easiest thing to do. So remember guys, the tab bar is something that is consistent throughout the app flow. The tab bar doesn't just like disappear all of a sudden. So make sure that you stick with that convention, those design conventions, and that you maintain a level of consistency through your app flow. And once again, here's kind of like the basic process. I've moved from screen or the home screen or screen 1 to screen 2. And I have clearly marked the UI element. So in this, like this is a tables, right? But each table has a cell. And you can actually, as you guys know, you guys use the contacts app, you can make a selection from the table view via the cell, and then you can move on to the next screen. So if you have any questions regarding this process, make sure that you email me immediately, because this is where you guys are going to be doing a lot of your work in project number 2, and a lot of your work in project number 3. So, the last thing I forgot to tell you guys is the user stories. So how will you write the user stories in here? So I want you guys to grab a sticky note, and I want you to type the user story here. So let's go ahead and just expand that sticky note, and as you guys can see, can type out, so user story number 1, user opens app and selects virtual tour. Real simple, it doesn't have to be complicated. You can change, if you want yellow, you can change the user story post color, totally up to you. That's really the entire process for your deliverable number 8. Remember, you're going to be doing, what I would like you guys to do is, if you could do your wireframes in the same freehand. So down here, I would start my second wireframe for function number 2. So that's exactly what I would like you guys to do. Once again, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, you guys have a lot of fun with this. This is a great tool. And it's like I said, it's a little it takes a little bit of getting used to if you're not used to doing wireframing. But it's a really valuable practice. I do it for clients all the time on every project that I work on. Okay, aloha.